So, who is enjoying this course as much as I am? I have loved everything we have learned so far. And I think the main reason why is because it's so applicable, not to public speaking, but to everyday life. Two subjects I really want to elaborate more on were how to be an effective listener and the 7 habits to avoid when delivering a speech. I feel those both kind of intertwine, and I really think they're main components of the whole speech process that we've learned about. Going back to the importance of effective listening, I can't emphasize it enough how important it is to listen to other people. Everyone wants to give their input to this world. And I mean, what good is it though if no one's willing to stop and listen? Just slow down and listen and take the focus off of self and put it onto someone else. I feel this culture has just become so entitled that it's all about me, 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 that we don't give others a chance to talk about what they and give other people a chance to say what they have to say. I think it has happened more often than not that I want to say something and people aren't listening. That could go back to the fact that maybe I don't what I'm saying or delivering, they don't feel it's relevant, but how will they know unless they give it a chance? I think too what happens is when someone is speaking, we have become so attached to our phones. This is at an all-time high, and I'm sure you guys will all agree with me. We are hooked on our phones. We let it be such a distraction and we don't even realize it. And I think it's such poor etiquette and it's bad manners. I mean, our lives have become our phones and they have distorted what communication is all about. I mean, yeah, it's the main tool we use, but what happened to good old fashioned face to face talking? I think it's just gotten so much about the media and we forget what it's like to just have a conversation with someone. I remember one incident in particular. My friend could not believe how much of our conversation that I remembered. It had happened a week prior, and she was just so amazed that I remembered everything she said. I was kind of taken back by that. I was like, well, naturally, you said something. I listened, and she just couldn't believe it, but she was so appreciative. And I think that goes a long way when you truly listen, when you just give everyone your full attention. That's a huge thing, especially in this culture where it's all about me and self. To give someone else your undivided attention and listen to what they have to say, what they want to contribute to this world. I just think it's priceless. It really is. And I think what happens too is people don't always know how to listen. They believe they are, but their body language says otherwise. I have been in that situation where I thought I was listening to someone, but I wasn't. I've mentioned it before, I was looking up or down because I was so afraid to make eye contact with someone. I felt by looking someone in the eye, it was just so uncomfortable, and I couldn't let it go there. It would just get too serious, and I would clam up, and then I'd get fidgety. And people have commented on the fact that what you just did was rude, and it wasn't my intention, but that's exactly how it was received. So I think it just is important to be aware of what our bodies are doing when we are trying to listen to someone. I think too that it goes back into what is being said. What are we speaking about? And I loved how he gave us guidelines of things to avoid when, delivering a speech. You have to be aware of who your audience is. You have to be aware of what they want to hear so that what you have to say is received well. And I think, all the 7 habits to avoid were beneficial in being aware of. I think the number one for me was avoid dogmatism. I just have seen it so much. Again, going back to this culture and us being so entitled and about self that we think we're right and everybody else is wrong, and you can't. There's no otherwise, basically. And I think we have to understand that we all have something to bring to the table, whether it's different backgrounds. I think there's got to be some sort of common ground, and I don't think um, it's wise to go out there and preach that that you know what you're saying and everyone else is just wrong, because that's going to cut people off right away. I also liked how they said to avoid negativity. I mean, they say misery loves company, so I understand there's going to be some people who are attracted to that negativity, but overall, I think we've been given a tool, which is our tongue, that we should utilize. I really feel we need to use it well. There's no reason to dwell on negative things. I mean, this world is already so negative enough, but by spreading a positive message, I think it'll be so much more effective. People will want to know. I mean, we need to put that kindness and that love into the world. I mean, who doesn't love that? There's no law against love. There's no law against kindness. I feel like that is the best way to utilize the gifts we've been given when we are able to speak well in public and open our mouth and not be afraid. And I just love what this material teaches, is that we need to embrace our uniqueness. We need to just be open and be who we are created to be. And I think overall in that will be received well. Trying to be someone else is not going to work. I think you just need to be true to yourself, and people will see that and they're going to want to hear and listen to what you have to say. And I think it goes again back to the whole speech process, even just understanding these different components and how critical they are, and that you can't have one without the other. You really need it all to be effective. And I think we forget about how to be there for other people, because, I mean, this culture has taught us to be only about yourself, like go get them, this go get them attitude. Like if you're not looking out for yourself, no one else will. And while that doesn't seem relevant to public speaking, I think a lot stems from that, because it's an attitude. It's the way we view life, and that is a reflection. The way we speak is a reflection of our attitude. And so you can tell when someone is very entitled, or when they don't care about others and they only care about getting their views into this world. What good will that be, though, if there's no one left to listen to what you have to say? I think by being a good listener, we can really show others that it is possible, that we can listen, and that what they have to say does matter. I think it even helps, even when we don't necessarily agree with what someone's saying, I think it still goes a long way to listen to what they have to say, because sometimes people just need to be heard. They just need to be validated. They just want to know that what they're saying matters to someone. So while you may not agree, just be kind and listen. And just, I mean, give someone your undivided attention and see what it really does to that person's day. I think in doing that too, people will see like, okay, it's not just about me. I think it really goes without saying that everyone wants to be heard. Like I said, I think that what happens though in listening to someone, you learn and you grow, and you really benefit though from things you would never thought you could benefit from. I've been to different seminars and conferences that going in, I'm like, oh my goodness, what can this person possibly have to offer me? I mean, I go in guarded, and I think it cuts you off from a lot of learning opportunities when you just go in so guarded. And I think just by being open-minded, as everyone claims they are, you can really open yourself up to a lot of things you never thought possible. And in that, I mean, in turn, you can go around and spread those things. I don't mean to be so vague, but there are so many things that I was reluctant to accepting. For instance, I never thought I would appreciate video games. I personally just don't see the importance of them, but my husband loves them. My husband loves video games, and he has on many occasions tried to tell me about these new games. I immediately shut down though. He can tell I'm not listening, and it usually ends in some bickering. But now I'm like, you know what? This is important to him. So when he wants to talk about it, while I may not want to hear what he has to say, I do. I put him first and I let him just talk about it. And it goes so much better, the conversation, because he is being heard, he is being validated, and overall there's just a level of respect that's created. And I think that ties back into public speaking, though. You know, when you are willing to listen to what your speaker has to say and just open to what's being delivered, I think it just creates a level of respect, and overall, it makes for a great experience. While I thought so much was beneficial from this week, I really just, again, thought the importance of effective speaking um, and listening were especially relevant, especially as it applies to everyday life. I thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time.